Welcome back to our third episode of For the Elevate. We're so glad you're spending a few moments of your day with us as we discuss communication and connection, both so necessary within these new work-life models we find ourselves in. A common theme that all three of us hear when we are speaking with women is a sense of detachment from their coworkers since having to operate in these varied work-life models, and for so long. Maybe it's hybrid, maybe it's full-on remote, for some it's still in person. Many have never met beyond that video screen. Some are finding it difficult to communicate and build those relationships that matter when they're in the office, but their colleagues are not. That every other day kind of model. Many are missing the energy created with their team or colleagues when collaborating, solving problems, even having a general meetup for lunch. So, Leana will kick off this conversation where we explore some communication and structural tips that will help you make those very important connections.
We are back for the Elevate. Bridget and Kathy and I are here to continue our conversations about living, leading, and learning. Last time we were talking about communication and how important it is to come to the table with solutions and feel empowered to have those conversations with the people on our teams, people who are leaders, whomever it may be. And how the people at the top need to listen and the folks on the bottom need to speak, basically, and meet in the middle. It seems to me that communication piece has some new challenges since we're all kind of in this state of mourning, that loss of connection that we used to have. We don't have the same FaceTime. We're not in touch with each other, running into each other in the hall necessarily, depending on the organization or the business. So I'm interested on your thoughts on that piece.
Boy, there's a lot of truth to that. People are, working in hybrid models and not sure what the future is going to look like. And while people don't necessarily want to go back to work full time, they're missing the connection with their colleagues and the kind of conversations you can have that are pretty rich, but informal. The point of that is we need to acknowledge that this is not going to go away and that we need to come up with different ways that we are going to communicate and come together to achieve those same outcomes of the past. So we got to change our structures.
Right.
I think we also need to be, as Kathy was saying, though, we got to be creative in how we do that. And a lot of times individuals, they've got a lot of great ideas out there. It gets back to that ask, have the conversation, really find out, unique different ways that people are thinking about to get together. And even if it is still remote, there's lots of different ways, you can have a really engaging conversation and you can make them fun. Again, we're going to emphasize fun because when you're remote, you got to do something to lighten it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Other than holding your cat or dog up to show your peeps and
well, we love that.
That is fun. That can be fun, especially when they get in there when you don't expect it or you're with someone who, anyway, shouldn't be seeing cats and dogs or perceived anyway, but it is fun. So yeah, I think that what you're talking about structurally, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? What you mean by structural?
Well, to think about how your organization now makes decisions. In the past, there were committees or councils or individuals. So you understood those ways. Now it's a little more murky. So how are decisions made? How are problems solved? And then what are the communication processes? So you make sure everybody knows what's happening. So it's looking at those three areas and reevaluating them and saying, all right, we don't have that anymore, or that's not working. Let's put something else in place. So it starts with that.
And I think you got to be careful because, everyone is kind of on Zoom overload in this new remote world, and they fill their days with Zooms. And a lot of times they're like, why, again, it gets back to why am I really here at this meeting? So we've really got to start making sure that when we're inviting people to have conversations, that they're meaningful conversations and they're really going to solve some of the problems of the day, or they're really going to help bring a group or a team together.
Yeah, total disconnect on some of that stuff. I totally hear you. I hear all the time how we mentioned this before in a previous episode, like, why am I in this meeting? What am I here for? I don't know why I'm here. They just invite everybody, and then you feel like you should show up because it came from someone who's in a higher position or someone that you report to. And you sit there with your foot tapping because you've got a laundry list of other things to be doing. So it's very challenging. Gone are the days of just popping your head into your leader's office and saying, have you got a minute, right?
Yeah. Although I do a lot of texting, do you got a minute? And can get work done pretty quickly if that's an acceptable way to communicate in your organization. And I think it's a great way. Got a minute? And if you don't respond. But if you do, we can probably get this done in 10 minutes or less and don't have to have a meeting down the road. So I'm a huge fan of texting and a little spontaneity with that as well. But,
yeah, instant messaging.
And don't use it as a barrier, right? I don't have a meeting, so I really can't get in touch with them, or they probably don't want to hear from me right now. Well, how do you know? I mean, again, that got a minute kind of text is really helpful.
Well, and I think it's good too, because a lot of times from what I hear, people will think, well, my leader never reaches out to me. We never have a one-to-one, but it is okay. Sometimes they're just caught up in the same trap as everybody else. It's not effective. They should be making time or trying to find a way to make time, but sometimes they're just caught up in the, huge amount of stuff that they're wrapped up in. And it's okay to be the one to reach out, right?
That's right. Right. Or let me know when you have 5 minutes and then stick to it, and throw your idea or your issue out there. And then you can always say, can we schedule a time to talk about this further? But I wanted to make sure you were in the loop on this. Those are all like good ways to communicate with each other. And again, if you don't have the time to respond, then you don't, because it's a question. So I think the more I find I can get a lot more done than I used to. And I'm also communicating with a lot more people because it just feels easier. And I don't have to take up a lot of their time. I can get the information I need or give the information they want or whatever much more quickly.
And I think one of the things that people can do to help that along if they're feeling uncomfortable is, reach out and find a mentor in the organization. It's really rare that when you ask for a mentor that they say no. I mean, it is so rare. And these are the kinds of things you can say, I'd really like to have this one-on-one, but I'm feeling a little uneasy about it. Your mentor can really talk you through those things and give you ideas, so it's if you're feeling uncomfortable about anything, especially in this remote world, find a mentor. They can be the lifeline.
What would you recommend as qualities to look for in a mentor versus just, oh, they think like me? Because sometimes people maybe professionally aren't the best choice, but your personalities match. So what are some things other than I really like her sense of humor would be a good thing to look for?
That is a good one though,
It is important. No, there's no doubt about that. But what else?
Well, I think you have to have a values match or something close to, are the same things important to us? Everything else can be different. We can look different, be different genders, colors, sizes. But if you don't have the same sort of belief system fundamentally, it can make it much more difficult. That said, you don't want somebody who thinks just like you, but this is more of a values. This is important. And this is something that I'm not going to waver on. I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah.
And be open to your mentor being honest. Sometimes the brutal truth is hard. We've all had those experiences, but I've always appreciated when my mentors, gave me that really tough advice and guidance and had me think about something really differently. I might have been doing something one way and they were they really gave me that honesty, and I needed it. I didn't realize it at the time, but I really did need it.
Two really cool points there that you brought up. One is, find someone with the same values, find someone who you admire as a leader. I hear so many times I've asked people list the qualities that your favorite qualities in the best leader you ever worked for. And then when it comes down to, are you behaving in the same way? There's so many times that I get a,
Right.
So it's important, I think, that it's someone that you really respect and can see that behavior. And then the other one is feedback. Bridget, like, nailed that. Feedback should be a gift. And a lot of people really, doesn't matter what level you're at. In fact, maybe even a little more defensive up here at times. But that is truly a gift when someone has enough, empowered enough to come to you with something that is maybe an issue.
Well, and they care enough, because it's not easy to give feedback that people don't want to hear. So it's a lot easier to just let it go and hope they figure it out. That's not helping them. It's also important, though, if you are the mentor or just colleague, to learn how to give feedback in ways that people can hear you. Because it's really easy to shut down quickly. And I can feel I got to take one for the team, you hold your breath and you're waiting. Which makes it difficult to hear. So it's important to be willing to give the feedback and to give it in ways that you would want to receive that feedback. Yeah.
Amen.
Including positive feedback.
Yes.
Totally.
Okay, so I'm a huge fan of positive feedback.
Yes.
And when you hear, and I have people who have done this with me, and I remember it for years.
Yes.
It's Kathy, when you did X, I thought that was really so positive in that interaction. You need to do more of that. I mean, like, and I was completely unaware of it. And wow, that gets my attention. That makes me want to do more of that and please, or that individual, because it's really powerful. So don't just give negative feedback.
Yeah. I think that's what, as Kathy was just mentioning, that's what reignites you and gives you that, kind of re-energizes you to, meet tomorrow with, a better attitude. It can really be a game changer.
It is a game changer.
So if you can give feedback and end it with, do more of that. Yeah. That is a really powerful statement.
Yeah, that's good.
There you go.
Excellent. So do more of that for the Elevate.
That's perfect.
I like it.
I think we could talk more about positive feedback in another episode. We'll go there, because I know that some people have admitted to me that they're really uncomfortable giving it. So I think we should table that and talk about that in another episode.
That is a great topic, and it's really a powerful leadership tool. So let's do it.
Love
for the Elevate.
All right then, perfect. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for investing a few minutes out of your very busy day with us. Maybe it was that perfect brain break or that opportunity to learn something new. We certainly hope so. And please don't forget to leave us comments on this episode. Let us know what resonated with you. And of course, let us know what you would like to hear more about in future episodes. So until next time, keep moving towards a healthier you. Do it for the Elevate.